Hey, Raider Nation, how are you guys doing this evening? Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. I'm your host, Phil Jones. Phil Robinson's here. Raiders are 2-0. This is a great feeling. I just got to repeat it one more time. Raiders are 2-0, and it's a great feeling, ladies and gents. So, that being said, as always, subscribe to the YouTube page, Unfiltered Truth, where you guys can go back and recap the episode. This episode is also being recorded, so you guys can check it out on Spotify. Phil, we have a few things to dive into, and so far, this Raider team, can they be, I don't know, consistent? Can they come out and do this every single week, not just offensively, but defensively as well?
Well, first and foremost, hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Unfiltered Truth. Can they do this consistently? That's really up to them to prove. But you kind of undersold it because right now, the Raiders aren't just 2-0. The Raiders are number one in the division. And not only are they number one in the AFC West, but they're number one in the entire AFC conference. Why? Because they have 2 conference wins over opponents, playoff teams. The Baltimore Ravens, a team that just beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, and over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that whooped up Buffalo on their own field to open up the season. So those are 2 colossal wins that cannot be stated highly enough, because not only have we beat those 2 teams, but you see they've taken care of some of our dirty work, and we will have the tiebreaker advantage over those 2 teams for the rest of this season. So those 2 victories were huge, let alone with Miami coming up this week. You're now looking at 3 2020 playoff teams that all are getting ready to go down one after another to your Las Vegas Raiders.
So, Phil, we saw the defense's performance the last 2 weeks. They've been able to hold. They've been able to force 3 and outs. They've been able to create turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions. So, are they really legit? Or is this a defense that's going to stay top 10 or top 15?
Currently, as it stands, they are number 1 in pass rush efficiency. They were ranking at 87.7% in pass rushing grades according to Pro Football Focus. They are 10th in points and 7th in total yards, I believe. They held Pittsburgh's offense to 331 yards. Big Ben he got loose, excuse me. The running game they had under control against Pittsburgh. Is this something that they can duplicate? Looking at the way that they're playing defense with the depth that they have, with the way that they bought into the system, and really the only holes that you see, the only differences that you can see with this is that they are really, really good. Really good. All the way from top to bottom, from the first man up to the last man on the bottom of the bench. This defense can be legit. This defense can be for real, because Gus Bradley's defenses don't falter down the stretch, even when his starters go down. He had the Chargers defense still at a top 10 unit when half the entire starting roster was injured. Said this defense is here to stay. They're going to continue to keep this team in football games, and I cannot wait to ride this wave out and watch our boys go all the way to the playoffs, take this division, and finally get off the schneid.
So the one thing I noticed about this defense that I haven't seen a long time, what I mean by a long time, I mean the last 3 years under Gunther's era. The stunts, the techniques, these guys, they feel free. They feel that they're able to do what they can do what they learned in college or from what they were doing with other teams. They can cut loose. They can pull the spin. They can be aggressive. Because it seemed like the D line would stay home and just play patty cake. You got Max Crosby able to become violent off the edge. You have Jonathan Hankins, in a way, reminding me of what he did back with the Giants a couple years ago. Now, if that's not something at Jay, damn, you hit right on the point right there, man. Hey, they've only blitzed, I think last week's game, they only blitzed 3 times. Yes, that's correct. The Raiders only blitzed 3 times, but all of this is majority coming from the D-line getting pressure. Something that we've been screaming and praying for this whole time since John Gruden's been here. And yes, Solomon Thomas did show up. Solomon Thomas is 2 sacks. 2 sacks off this defensive line.
Should have been 3 because we went back and reviewed that play. And actually, when Ben Roethlisberger's knees hit the ground, he was, in fact, still behind the line of scrimmage. The refs gave him a favorable spot and took a sack away from Solomon Thomas. And he finished with 2 instead of 3.
So, just not even off the D-line, we can just go and look at this linebacking core. You go back, and there's one of the plays where there's a crossing route for the number 2 receiver. It's going to Johnson, and you know who's running with him? It's Corey Littleton. And I mean, it's not Corey Littleton behind him, trailing him. It's Corey Littleton running with him side by side. That was actually the play where it was a coverage sack. I take that back. Phil, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that they actually did give him that sack. So it was sacks for the game. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So they gave him that sack.
Excellent. And you just said something that was very key there. You said the word coverage sack. And if you go back and look at the rest of the sacks, a lot of them were coverage sacks. The coverage from the Raiders has been excellent. Has been good. Nobody's been out of position. Everybody's been where they were supposed to. And Casey Hayward has been free enough to leave his man and go make a play on the football. You haven't heard Trayvon Moorig's name hardly at all, which means he's not getting burnt deep. Jonathan Abram has been anything but a liability on the football field. And Trayvon Mullen secured the first interception of the season. And Nate Hobbs is out there putting on an open field tackling clinic. This secondary has been by far the best secondary that we've seen on the field for the Raiders in a very long time.
So real quick, I'm going to give you guys some stats from Pro Football Reference. Jonathan Abrams, and this is for coverage. Jonathan Abrams was targeted 5 times, only allowed 3 completions, 17 yards. Denzel Perryman only allowed 5 complete. He was targeted 5 times, only allowed 3 completions for 27. Casey Hayward was targeted 3 times, mind you. This is only for the past 2 weeks. Casey Hayward was targeted 3 times, allowed 1 catch. For the completion percentage was 33.3%. 0 yards. Casey Hayward Jr. has not allowed a single yard this season. I want you to think about that.
This many.
When the last time we had a corner that has allowed 0?
This many.
Not -5, not -2, not -1, but 0. Corey Littleton, hey, guess what? He's been targeted 2 times and only allowed 12 yards. So I think he's doing a solid job right there. This secondary has been doing a great job with the amount of yards. I think the amount of yards they've allowed total is only 530 yards from out of the last 2 games.
That's good. That's good defense right there.
And you've only given up 2 touchdowns. You're only giving up 2 receiving touchdowns, Phil.
2 in 2 weeks.
That's pretty solid. Yeah,
that's beyond solid. That is every Raider fan's dream. No matter where you fit on one side of an equation, the defense was needing to improve was recognized by all, and the defense has showed up. And even with guys going down, the defense has continued to show up. And it's I feel like pinching myself, honestly, watching them. I feel like I'm dreaming because they still held Pittsburgh under 50% third down conversion rates. I believe they were 42%. They held the Ravens to 25%. They're getting fumbles, they're getting interceptions, they're getting sacks. Yep. They had 21 sacks last season. They're already at 5.
Yeah,
6 if they gave Thomas his sack. So
the other thing, so far the defense, I think they're ranked. Didn't you say they're ranked what, 7th in the NFL or?
7th in points, 10th in points, 7th in yards.
Hold on, I got it right here. Hold on, I'll pull that up for y'all. Because I'm just like, it's been a long time where you can be happy about your defense, you know?
Top 10 defense.
It's been a long time. So let's go on and pull up that happiness. Because it's tears of joy. And I know a lot of folks are like, oh my God, the defense. That's all we were hearing during the all season. And then all of a sudden you're seeing that
we have one.
Yeah.
And it travels. It doesn't just stay at home. It goes on the road. It goes to the East Coast. It goes in the morning. They play at night.
Here we go. Yeah, the Raiders defense is ranked 10th in the NFL. Passing, they're ranked, yeah. They've only allowed, wow. They're ranked 8th for touchdowns allowed. Man. Points allowed, they're ranked 11th. Hey. I'm just going to say this, you know, when you can go and see that, that puts a big smile on your face. Now, here's the big talk. Mr. Robinson, is Derek Carr elite?
Ooh,
I'm going right to it. I'm throwing the fire out there.
Fresh out of the gate, let me answer this question for you. Through week 2, Derek Carr, not only is he elite, the only quarterback who's played better, the only 2 quarterbacks who have played better football than Derek Carr have been 1, Tom Brady, and 2, Kyler Murray. But Derek Carr has been out there in the spread. He's been out there. He personalized John Gruden's offense, and he's running it the way that he wants to run it. You can tell by the confidence he's showing. You can tell by the way he's seeing the entire field. You can tell by the way he's directing his receivers. You can tell by the way he's hitting them all. Derek Carr is playing at a completely different level than anything that you've seen from him through 2 weeks. And as of right now, I would love to get on board, and I want to jump on that bandwagon so bad, but Derek Carr can't show me anything until after week 12. from all that I've seen from him. I've seen this movie before. It's a contract year. He's come out with a different look. He's hitting guys. He's lighting up the yardage. He's lighting up the scoreboard. We're beating playoff defenses. He's doing it with a patchwork offensive line. He's out there. He is out there, a man among boys right now. So I want to say, what I will say is that through 2 weeks, he definitely has been elite.
So he currently leads the NFL in passing yards.
817.
If he can get, I'm gonna tell you this: if they can get the touchdowns going, get that up a little bit, because I'm gonna be real, there was some touchdowns that he should have already had, and the refs have been, on that nonsense. So I'm gonna say this, Phil. Week 3's game against Miami is going to say a lot.
Yes, it is.
They're in a situation where they may not have their quarterback. They just literally got defeated 35-0. Now, I'm not saying that you should walk in thinking that, this is going to be a cakewalk, because that's what leads to, in some folks' terms, a trap game. Admiral Aardvark is saying it's a trap. But if the Raiders can come out the way they've been doing defensively, which I went back to them being a consistent team, not just defensively, but offensively, meaning if you have the opportunities there to go in and score, to go in and put up the points. And I mean, not just settling for the field goals, because that's the one thing I've been noticing out of this team. When it comes down to the first half, the Raiders are you see them just putting up just field goal to field goal to field goal to field goal. But when it comes to the second half, they do make their adjustments to where they're putting up about 17 points, or they're putting up about 21 points in the second half.
No, without a doubt. This whole thing, they start off slow. They don't quite convert their opportunities, but in the second half they get comfortable. Ideally, you would like to see them convert early, but there is no buts. You want to see them score with every possession, with every opportunity. And they've left a little bit of meat on the field, but that's to be expected. They've been rusty, but they've won, so we're gonna excuse the rust because they're winning. And like Al Davis said, just win, baby. That's the only thing that matters.
Ain't no lie right there, man. There's no lie right there.
But
now,
hold on, real quick. I just want to touch on this. Is that Bryan Edwards has been as advertised, and while the numbers may not support what the T.O. and the Randy Moss comparisons, whenever you need a play and you go to him, you look at what he does, and he will get there soon. He's going to get there. That guy has got probably the best hands that I at this point. The guy with the worst hands on the team statistically is Darren Waller. Everybody's catching the football out there. Guys are getting open. I like what they were doing with Henry Ruggs. I like how they switched from the game against the Ravens, where they were using him as a decoy and deep routes, to running short to intermediate routes against the Steelers, getting the ball in his hands and letting him do a little something and lulling him off to sleep until they can hit him for the game-winning drive over the top.
So you said Darren Waller. I'm gonna touch base on that real quick, because this is one thing I just wanted to see. All that Darren Waller has had is 2 drops.
That's not what we saw in Las Vegas.
Well, you got to remember, a lot of those balls were being forced.
That's not what we saw. That may be what they recorded there, but you and I both know that's not what we saw in Vegas.
I'm gonna be real, because I saw it right there. I had a little bit of a better vantage view, and some of those balls were forced at first. Now, you got Waller going up against Miami next week. Remember how Waller did against Miami? He said, "I'm your daddy."
And it should be, as long as they take care of business, this shouldn't change. But one thing that does bring me some concern is something that you heard coming out of Miami's locker room at the end of that game. And that was that at the end of that game, after they got whooped like that and beat like that, that when we went into the locker room, it was like a funeral. And in professional locker rooms, when you get embarrassed like that, you do everything that you can in the next outing to come out and rectify that. So make no mistake, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to get the Miami Dolphins' best effort on Sunday.
Now, this is what's going to have to play a major point for the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. Can I get the damn running game to please stand up? Because you were non-existent week 1. 12 carries, 30 yards. But yeah, you got 2 touchdowns, but that ain't enough. You didn't have Josh Jacobs this past week, but you have another Alabama running back in Kenyon Drake, and we're not hitting holes where if you made one cut, you should have had a big run for about 25 yards, or you weren't utilizing Peyton Barber inside on the runs, and you got these guys averaging probably about 2.5 or maybe 3 yards per carry. Now, is it a little bit on the offensive line? Oh, yes. Definitely. When you don't have, and I went back and looked at last night's film. It's been a handful of times I've seen John Simpson whiffing. Now, if we can get Incognito back, oh, that's a plus. Or what the Raiders could do, here's an idea. Put Brandon Parker at right tackle, slide in Leatherwood at right guard, put Illuminor at left guard. Or if you do get Incognito back, you got to have him being the guy pulling. Because that's where everything's hurting at. Now, I hear a lot of people screaming, saying that, oh, the O-line's not giving Carr enough time in the pocket. He's getting enough time in the pocket.
Plenty of time in the pocket.
Now, he did it. He has been sacked 5 times. Yes, that is true. But 3 of the times happened against Baltimore when everybody was just dropping. And then the other 2 times happened Yes.
One was a strip sack for TJ Watt, and the other one was a guy coming up the middle.
That was Melvin Ingram.
No, you're right. He came through.
So that was just the 2 sacks right there. Now that center quarterback fumble exchange, I go back and look. That was on Derek. Derek and Andre need to really work on that this week. They need to really get in sync. If they can get in sync, be on the same page, I feel that they're going to be able to get better and better as the season goes on. Now, yeah, everybody's going to have a rocky patch when you're working with a new center, but you can't throw all blame on just one guy. They have to do a little bit more extra to get better here. If they're going to still run with John Simpson out there, John Simpson's going to have to really open his eyes and execute on some of those blocks when he's making the pull. And the other thing, we need to see Kenyon Drake really open his eyes with his running back vision because it hasn't been consistent.
Borderline Trent Richardson vision. Yeah. That he missed on that gun run. He missed a huge cutback opportunity, and he'd still be running if he took that up. But all in all, what you've seen on offense has been very impressive. The running game is not quite as far off as it would be, as it looks on the stat sheet and what you would think it would be. A block here, a block there would really make all the difference in the world. And we we just need Derek to continue doing what Derek has been doing.
Yeah.
And he will be just fine. The spread is working. Right now they're taking a break from the power run. And as long as they continue to slang that ball, we'll be just fine. They'll continue to win. And the key to this season, more than ever, is a simple one. Take it 1 week at a time. And if they focus on the opponents that they have in front of them every week, the results will be more favorable than negative. And we will get to where we want to be. We will see this team in the playoffs, making a push, making some noise, and finally bringing some respect back to the Raider Nation.
Absolutely. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up. The few things I can say just to close this off, if I'm the Raiders going into this week, if you don't have Josh Jacobs, it's time for you to allow Trey Raggers to go out there and show what he can actually do. He was pretty damn solid when he went out there during the preseason for you guys. Give him a shot. He's good going east, west, and north and south. If you're going to try to establish this in that pistol formation, don't have Renfro on the back for that. I would say go along and have Henry Ruggs back there. He's used to coming out of that formation if you go back and look when they did it in college. So he will be the more ideal guy to use instead of Renfro. But other than that, it's consistency for the Raiders. If they can come out and do what they need to do, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Real quick before we wrap it up and get out with this, we got big news coming. The Unfiltered Truth is expanding. Pretty soon you will be able to hear us on KWDC FM, Stockton, California radio. We'll be on the Delta College Community Radio frequency, and we are just rolling along, doing our thing. So,
hey, that's it. If you can, subscribe to the Unfiltered Truth, subscribe to our Facebook page, find us on Twitter, Phil Jones NFL, Phil Robinson III. He just had an article drop for the Raider Ramble. Check it out. It's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, the AFC West is up for grabs.
You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow evening.
We have special guest Antoine Staley.
You guys take care. God bless. We're out.